Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. We've got new Lamby Day. We've got a bundle guide. We've got last chance reviews. We've got an absolute ton of content for you in today's video. But before we get started, please hit that sub button, hit that like, hit that comment. We bring you the most and the most consistent Marvel Snap content in the whole game. A video every single day. We've got 6 days of the full Snap Take show, which is 3 decks, bundle guides, pro tips, everything you need for your Marvel Snap growth. And then the seventh day, we release a podcast over on the Marvel Snap Zone YouTube, which is 2 to 3 hours talking with Marvel Snap's biggest names about the hottest topics. If you're interested, it's completely free to support us by subscribing. We'd greatly appreciate it. It helps us grow and it helps us beat that YouTube algorithm, which is such a huge. So any help you can provide would be greatly appreciated. We have just finished a giveaway. We've got 5 winners. We've got Yugi no Hugino. Perhaps I said that right. Probably not. Duke Royals, Venom Twitter, which is hilarious. Hi Venom. I also spelled it Venom because I don't know how to type. Braun is alive and HXGX. You've all won a season pass. Please email snapjudgmentspodcast at gmail.com. That's snapjudgmentspodcast at gmail.com. Um, Let me know if you'd like Scar or you'd rather wait for Black Swan. Either which way, we will be getting to our next giveaway starting next Wednesday. So make sure you're subbed and you're not missing that. We give away 15 season passes every season, not counting these 5. These were our 8,000 subs special giveaway. Now, we also maintain a sheet, thanks to our friend Banshee. In the description to the video, you can find it. It's every active giveaway in Marvel Snap, so you have a chance to win a bunch of really great stuff. Also, if you're not sure, like, what the value of stuff is in Marvel Snap outside of bundles, yesterday's video is a full Series 4 and Series 5 guide. It explains how to perfectly optimize the economy as best you can so that with just the season pass, you can get basically every card, and it tells you what to expect if you're free to play. So make sure you check yesterday's video for that. All right, we began with the giveaway, and now we're on to, well, we will shortly be on to the questions of the day. We have our first deck from Lamby. We have our bundle guide for Boon of the Savage Lands. I kept thinking it was Born of the Savage Lands, but it's the Boon. We've got Streamer Johnson, the amazing Twitch Irem with a ridiculously cool, fantastically new Thanos deck. I don't think I'm overselling it. When you get to it, you tell me if I'm overselling how cool this Thanos deck. Then we've got a last day review for Miek, and then I feel like we should also just talk about Phoenix versus Anilus because, like, who knows when the next time you'll be able to get those cards is either. So if you've been holding off and you're not sure if you're going to buy them, I'm going to give you my final suggestions. Then we've got Meta Monday. Meta Monday, every Monday, we look at meta decks. We take a look at a major deck that exists in the meta. Destroy has, since the OTA, been one of the 2 most popular decks, along with Hela. So we're going to talk about the meta Destroy list, what the 3 major variants are. There's like 1 card different in all 3. And then we'll end with 3 days of shops. Because yesterday's video didn't do a shop because it was all about the economy of the game. So 3 days of shops and shops. So, reminder, this is a daily snap show. There's going to be 3 decks and repeating features in the middle. Let me know what you think about the features, and they can happen more or less. Again, card acquisition yesterday. Um, Tonight is your last chance to enter the custom card challenge for the Move or slash Spider-Verse contest. Check the description for more. The winners of that each month. So we do one of those a week. The winners each month are entered into a giveaway for a season pass. So you have to participate to win that one. Next season pass giveaway is next Wednesday. Tomorrow we've got I think I have 17 Grandmaster decks set right now. So make sure you are ready for that. We've also got a bunch for Hitmonkey and Loki. If you're interested in supporting us financially, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/snapjudgments. It's all extra stuff. You lose nothing by not doing so, but we have some cool extra stuff there. Please check it out. And if you personally need help, if you are struggling in Series 3, hop on the Marvel Snap Zone Discord or DM me on Twitter, and I will happily do anything within my power to help you. Although I am a busy person, so it will take a little while. Don't expect like an answer in 5 minutes, but for the next couple days, I'll be sure to get back to you and help you in any way. Cool. Let's keep going to our questions of the day. Max Snap asks what card best exemplifies their character. Um, okay. This is weird because he was built specifically to do this, but I think that Spider-Man is an absolutely stellar exemplification of his character. I think Spider-Man does a fantastic job of feeling like Spider-Man when you play him. It looks like Spider-Man. The animation is like Spider-Man. It's great. I know that's like a cliche answer, but it's just very true. I really like the Havoc animation, but it doesn't feel quite right. In a weird way, I like the Kang effect. It feels very Kang. He kind of just loses anyway. It just lets him know when to retreat. Feels very like Kang. SD Don't Be Evil wants to know if cost reduction should stack in Marvel Snap. I.e., if you have Zabu and Sarah, should you get -2 or should it just be -1? Yeah, I think so. And like at least because Mobius exists, right? If you're gonna have that hard of a counter to cost reduction, then cost reduction has to stack. I feel like without that, I think it'd be more of a debate, right? Like if there weren't a simple answer that's in the meta that's affordable, again, 3,000 tokens is relatively affordable, then I might disagree. But for where we are now, I think yes. Gunny T would like to know my favorite book series. Um, I don't know if I have a favorite series. I'm gonna go with the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series. The older I get, the more the humor and the more the way that series like how do I put this? The more that the way that series looks at the world appeals to me. The the more a person wants to be leader, the less likely they should be able to do so. The people who obsess over nothing but your destruction are really hard to handle because you want to think about going to the movies and relaxing and they want to think about killing you. There's like a bajillion like just like amusing different ways of looking at the world. He's brilliant. He's empathetic. I really like Douglas Adams. So I'm going to go with that. Um it is not a fantasy series I super love in hindsight. Like, as I've gotten older, basically every fantasy series is extraordinarily flawed. I like Lord of the Rings a lot, since that's tends to be what people mean when they say book series. But like all the other big ones, like have fallen apart at some point. My current favorite, it's not done, so I'm fully expecting it to fall apart. Is the oh god, I don't even remember what it's called. It's the Sanderson one. Well, Way of Kings. I've really liked that a fair amount. Um, but I don't know. I fully don't expect that to sink its landing. All right. If you'd like your question read out in tomorrow's video, leave one in the comments. Priority answers for Patreons. All right. I hate Infinite with this very season. Thank goodness, immediately before Thanos Blob took over, because this deck got smoked by Thanos Blob. It's back in a real way. This is not the deck we're talking about today. I just wanted to let you all know. I got an Infinity ticket with this, and I got Infinite with it, and I sent it to Lamby, and all of a sudden, Lamby played Lamby Bounce. Look at how different. Look at how similar these cards are. These decks are. They even put all the same variants in them. We've got a change of Spiderham for Iceman, um, which I'm not sure how I feel about. I'm gonna be honest, I prefer Spiderham and Hawkeye for Shadow King. So Shadow King was here not for Blob. Shadow King was here because I could sometimes beat Destroy if I had Shadow King in the deck. Without Shadow King, I cannot beat Destroy. Destroy is everywhere. I think Shadow King is great in this deck. Hawkeye is like always a 1/7 though in this deck, so I understand the change. Um, Otherwise, this is my deck, y'all. It's like 2 cards away. It's very, very similar. But Lamby has put it together and kind of been smoking people with it. It no longer goes as crazy over the top as it did previously. But, and this is a huge, ridiculously huge caveat, I believe that's about to change because I think that Hawkeye Shadow King spot will be the why can't I think of the name of the stupid card now? Grandmaster spot coming forward, and that Grandmaster spot, whether that like be double beasting things and getting a bajillion cards to cost 0, whether that be like getting a Nico with, I would assume, a different spell, getting an immediate 1/7 Hawkeye if he stays, getting a second Forge trigger, getting a second Bash trigger without needing to bounce seems really good. I think that that's going to be absolutely stellar for this deck. The real problem is like I want that and I want Black Swan, and now I just don't have enough space, right? Like Iron Man's got to go or something. So I think that this is a real deck. I think this is a meta deck, although its efficacy is going to depend on how much how much Destroy is in your meta. This fights, punches in the face, and can beat anything but Destroy. And Destroy is another reason that I like Spider-Ham over Iceman here. Occasionally, Spider-Ham just gives a win, which is pretty damn. All right, Nico can be Spider-Ham or Electra or Maria Hill. Electra's pretty decent. These are all much worse. Nico is absolutely stellar in the deck. She gets really big by doubling. Her destroy to draw two is game winning. I still prefer Ham for Iceman, whatevs, like our friend Lauren. And this needs Hit Monkey. And just so you know, he's in spotlights tomorrow, and he's about to get much better because he probably goes in a deck with next week's card, Beta Ray Bill. He probably goes in Black Swan decks where they can all cost 0 and you can play a Hit Monkey at the end of it for a bajillion power. I think that Hit Monkey is very likely to be a meta card again soon. So, fair warning. All right. Ooh, I don't know why this still says Chaos Pro at the top. Shh, the Lamby deck. I promise. I didn't change my subtitle. My bad. All right. Turn one, Bast. If you have a bounce, is better than Hood. If a bounce is better than Forge, who's more or less equal to Iceman and Hawkeye. Turn two is the same as turn. Turn three, I prioritize Bishop. Sorry, Beast. If I have Bishop, it's a toss up depending on board space and locations, whether I play a Falcon and a 1 and what order that happens in, or Bishop. If I got a Hood, I will often prioritize Falcon because I want the second demon, and I would like to get that -3 off the board. Um, Sometimes it's Bishop though. The other thing that I will often consider as I'm deciding this is there a second Nico spell or is Bast out? Because at the later in the game, if I can get my second Bast off to hit Iron Man or Mysterio, that's game. So turn four is replay what you need to plus Bishop, or you can do your bounce here. Bounce three or four. It's fairly redundant. Um, you have to be a little careful if you're going to play Iron Man on five. You don't always. Sometimes you just replay some stuff. Like sometimes you'll play two or three demons at this point because the deck sort of goes off and gets silly. Um, and you want to make sure that you only have um, six energy of stuff so you can monkey a Mysterio on six. So turn six is just monkey, Mysterio, and whatever else you can. The zeros for Beast are really good here. But remember, Hawkeye has to be played next turn, so you will sometimes play Hawkeye a little early um, like on turn five as a zero with Iron Man or something, and then just sort of go on from there. Also, be careful not to play Hawkeye and Iron Man in the same lane. Iron Man lanes are often abandoned, and you want to be able to read if they're going to do that. Like opponents will go, "Oh, I can't deal with that Iron Man." So you want to read if they're able to do that. If you don't have Mysterio, and be able to get that 1/4 to 1/7 elsewhere where it's more cool. I've played this deck a lot. All right, quick variant talk. We've got Bast hip, Hawkeye hip, Iceman hip, Falcon hip, Mysterio hip, the lovely new Bishop hip, Hip Monkey hip, Beast hip, Iron Man hip. We're up to 9. We're almost at our full hip deck. We've got the Hellfire Gala Forge. It's my favorite Forge. I really like the colors on it. Midnight Sun's Nico. There's a Nico I like better, but it's not out yet. And the Hood from the Noir Hood. Cool. That's the variants for this one. All right, Boon of the Savage Lands. This is our big gold bundle for the month. It seems like most months have a big gold bundle. This is worse than last month's big gold bundle. Um, it seems to be about 15% better than Token Tuesday. Generally speaking, these big bundles are about 25% better than Token. Cool. So it is significantly worth. I think it's actually like 17%, but whatever. Generally speaking, I think that these are what you want to save up for. I don't know if I'd save up for this one unless, and this is a fairly big caveat, unless there is something you know you want to buy right now for those 3,000 tokens. I think that would actually help turn me around. Now, this is better for people who are closer to card complete. Like for people who are close to card complete or like have every card, this is actually pretty damn good value, and it goes up in value. It is less value, largely because less credits the further you are from Series 4 and 5. Cool. As always, check my friend Savage Yeti Gaming out. I got this info from him. He's the best. Also, please note this is only one variant, and I don't know, maybe I'll love this, but I think it's fine. I've got a really great Hip Kazar. Keeping it ongoing is a good title if you actually give a crap. Although all right, Johnson, Hela Thanos. Yeah, that's right. Hela Thanos. I swear on my son, I like literally was showering. I was going, there's no way. Like as I was thinking about it, because we shared on Friday the McDonaldino, um, Hela Blob deck that was running like half of these cards, right? And and like I'm just like I keep running into the like anti synergy of Blob wants cards in deck, but Hela wants to get all the cards off the board, right? And I was like, would Thanos solve that? There's no way Thanos solves that. Well, Johnson's a genius, and Johnson figured it out, and this deck is super cool and super powerful. It's really, really simple, right? You want to get Lockjaw out, and if you get Lockjaw out, you just pump a bunch of huge stats out. You can use Wave to pump a bunch of huge stats out, and you can use Killmonger to get rid of all your stones, so you have plenty, plenty of space for a nice, cheap death blob, and you can win that way. It's good. Right, this needs Thanos and Blob. It's built for Samurai, but like you're not gonna completely collapse if you try Gambit or Moon Knight in those spots. So Johnson is a mad genius. Turn one, draw, and you play Blade as needed, basically, as there's a high priority target. Turn two, draw, Blade as needed. Turn three, lockjaw. And if you get lockjaw on three, just snap. Your opponent should run. They may not, but they should. Turn four, Sif or Killmonger if death is in hand. You can also Sif if there's another priority target that's not Hela. You can also just wave, drop Blob. Thanos perfectly. Turn four, again, play into jaw, and Samurai of Blob. Turn five, if you got a big enough car out, you drop Scar here. White Tiger, or you do the same things as turn four, and turn six is basically always Hell or a Blob. And you throw a death in there when she's cheap enough, if she's cheap. Cool. That's how you play this one. All right, quick variant talk. We've got Blade, Lockjaw, Killmonger, Sif, Wave, Blob. Oh, 6 hips. Not amazing, but pretty good. We've got a Nora Black Cat. I like it a lot. We've got the Hela from the bundle, which I love. This is my favorite Thanos. I think it suits the character well. I've got this Thanos gold and this Death gold. This is the only good Silver Samurai currently in the game, so I have it. I really, really want the hip, but it's not out yet. And then White Tiger is one of the last two cards, not from this month, that I still need a variant for, along with Rescue. Give the hip Rescue and give me any White Tiger that's not a pixel, please. All right, last chance review, Miek. Do you really like discard? If you do really like discard, I think Miek is worth it. Is he a necessity for those decks? But he opens up new ways to play them, and with cards coming the next 2 months, I think he is likely to be better. I think he is largely a mid card. A very fun mid card, but a mid card. Cool. Should you use spotlights for Miek? Only if one thing is true. You need an Anilus. Got it? If you need an Anilus and you have four, you can open four, get both, or open however many it takes to get both and stop. Other than that, I think he's a token purchase or nothing. Got it? Phoenix Force has literally never been better. The new meta changes have made her really good, with one major exception. Killmonger is back in a big way because of all the destroy everywhere. So the Human Torch plays are worse than they have been. However, Dagger and Multiple Man plays are still absolutely backbreaking. I've been playing it's a Bacon Bits deck. Bacon Bits is just Twitter user that got some infinite tickets with Phoenix Force that I really like. They've got Shuri, Nimrod, Zabu, and Shang-Chi in their deck, and no one expects Shang-Chi and Phoenix Force. So I've been completely like rolling with that list. Um, I had a really strange day on ladder Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. I went from like 5,000 to like 12,000, and that's the kind of drop that just doesn't happen to me. I don't have like days where I can't win in Marvel Snap. That's, I mean, I know that sounds arrogant. It's just the truth. It's the first time that's happened to me, perhaps ever. There was one time when I fell from like 94 to 80, that which is like the other most I've dropped, and this was far worse than that. So whatever. I was like, oh, maybe I forgot how to play Marvel Snap. I've been talking about it so much, but I can't play anymore. So I went today and I just won all my games today. I played that Phoenix deck and I climbed back from 12,000 to low 7,000. So I feel fine. But it was all with Phoenix Force. I think Phoenix Force is really good, but it's a Series 4 card. Uh, I don't know if it's worth it. It's also a card that needs a lot of other high series cards to work. Phoenix Force decks want Ghost Spider. They often want Kyara. They want Hercules. They want Nimrod, right? If you have all of those cards, and then you can open for Miek and Phoenix Force. If you don't, then it's probably not worth it. You're just gonna get a card that's cool, but you can't really play right now. And Anilus is must have. If you can open for Anilus, I think you should, especially if you have Sentry and Hood. If you have Sentry Hood, and Anilus are a 3 card package that wins games. It's one of the most powerful packages in the game. We're seeing it in Bounce shells, we're seeing it in general good stuff shells, we're seeing it in Darkhawk shells again. It's just one of the most powerful things you could possibly do. I think Anilus is a must have card, and you should open Spotlight caches for Anilus. Cool. If you also don't happen to not have Miek, right? Great. Get both as long as you have 4 caches. Again, if you're not sure how to do this, please, please, please check yesterday's video. It will explain all of the theory with the math about how many credits, gold, and tokens you get depending on how much money you spend, and then what you should do with your tokens for that. Sorry, what you should do with your caches for that. So make sure you check that out. But analysis worth having. I'm like 99.9%. Oh, right. Meta Monday. This is Destroy. This is a standard Destroy list. Basically, what it wants to do is it wants to blow up Deadpool and X-23 a lot. Anything else that blows up is perfectly fine. It eventually uses Venom to become huge, Death to become huge. Then it has a really cheap Scar, along with the really cheap Death, and then it's got a bajillion power and all a bajillion power Deadpool to play, along with a really big Venom, which means it gets too big for a simple Shang-Chi. Although Shang and Shadow King will trick. It's very, very powerful. It is the best raw power deck in the game. Now that previous Blob is but a memory. Scar is sometimes Shang-Chi, sometimes Hulkbuster, and sometimes Alive. That's why I lose to the deck sometimes. I have trouble playing around all three. Against Shang, you want priority. You don't want priority against Alive. You want priority, right? Um, if you see Hulkbuster, I generally feel safe because I run a lot of Shadow King still. And if I see Scar, I generally feel safe because Shadow King and Shang-Chi are a lot of my deck, right? But if it's Shang and Alive, it's really hard to play around. Nico can be replaced in similar ways, but Nico is like better and harder to replace than Scar, in my personal opinion, because that draw two is just game winning. If you're playing against a destroy opponent, unless you have hard counters and they do the destroy to draw two, just run. You do need Null and X-23. These decks do not exist without those two cards at any level. X-23 is a Series 5, Null is a Series 4. Sorry. X-23, I feel like, is in spotlights a lot, so you'll have a chance to get her. And Null's been in 3 times already, so I think they're taking a rest. But, 3,000 tokens. So if you need to get there, hey, there is that bundle right now. All right. So this deck is everywhere. So turn 1 Forge over Deadpool. If you have both in hand, you Forge then Deadpool. If you just have Forge and X-23, I generally play X-23 first. Turn 2 is generally more ones. Turn 3 is Destroy. Turn 4, Destroy again. Keep 10 power Venom in mind if you're the Scar version. So I like to turn 3 like 1 in Carnage, turn 4 1 in Killmonger, and then turn 5 if I can. I'm dropping like Venom and a huge Deadpool. Sometimes I eat the Deadpool, sometimes I don't. Depends on if the X-23 is. At that point, I often have to like a giant Venom, a giant Deadpool on the board, so I can drop Null and I can drop Null if I kill Deadpool. I can drop Null and Deadpool if I've killed X-23, and if not, I can drop Scar and Death, and just a crazy amount of power. I played this deck for my weekend missions, just for the record, for my Scar weekend missions to get a feel for it for this video. All right, to play against Destroy. So like a lot of the decisions that beat Destroy are in the deck building phase. It's very hard to beat in the actual gameplay phase if it starts going off. So if you can lock down a lane and win with Storm, you're going to be in great shape because now they only have 2 places to play, and they don't generally like Zola used to be in these lists, and Zola is basically gone now. So you can keep an eye out for Zola, but it's not common. Um, if you can win with Storm, you've got that lane. And now they're competing 2 other lanes, and they tend to get really, really big in those 2 other lanes. So a Shang-Chi or a Shadow King will often get you that win. Make sure you're losing priority. Armor and Cosmo in the right spots can wreck them, which means they're going to be early playing these cards. You're going to need to get priority and pick a turn where you have priority and you can drop armor where they're going to play and Cosmo where they're going to play, and then you can trap things on them. If they don't get Killmonger, cards like Polaris or Cloud can ruin their day, and that's Killmonger is also like why Cosmo like Killmonger and Cosmo are like opposites, right? Um, you get their Deadpool with a Cosmo and they don't see Killmonger, that Deadpool is trapped. They see Killmonger, then you just slowed them down. Shadow King on their Deadpool Venom, basically never Shadow King their Carnage. It's usually not worth it. Shadow King their Deadpool Venom, those are the big threats, and you take them down. It's really, really hard for them to come back and compete. Shang, Enchantress, and Rogue are all good if you can throw a priority Enchantress and Rogue specifically for Null. I like Enchantress and Rogue a lot in the lockdown versions of this deck because, well, if you're locking them down, then okay. if you're locking them down, then you know where they're going to null. Enchantress and Rogue can win that, roll that deck. Shang is generally safer. Shang is just really. These decks obviously cannot run Kara. Mobius handles Death and Scar. Like, it's very frustrating for them if they are not able to drop that big death. That big death, along with null, is part of how they win, right? If they can't do that because of Mobius, then you're in really good shape. And Spiderham is here, very, very good at important targets, as is Leech. Leech is kinda hilarious here against this deck. So that's the general cards and strategies I use to beat Destroy. If you have any more, drop them. Oh, I didn't even bother to put variants in this. I just sort of threw this deck in here. This ain't my deck. I don't like it. This meta. If you're new here, I don't really play meta. A lot of this channel is finding new decks ahead of the meta. This deck has fundamentally existed since August. All right, these are my Friday variants, Friday to Saturday variants. I have the hip for Hellcow, Anilus, Spider-Man, Hellcow, Anilus, and Spider-Man. Cool. I have a Spotlight for Silk and a Venomized Silk. I have like 3 Deadpools, the Penny Arcade, the Will Merc for food. So I like the post-apocalyptic version, but I don't need it for anything. I'm buying the hip armor, so I'm not buying another armor till then. I have the best current armor, and I have like 3 deaths. Don't worry about it. You saw my favorite one, the Midnight Suns one. I have 5 Ghost Riders. I didn't realize I had 5 Ghost Riders, but I totally do. I have the cool one they just gave us from bottom right. The cool one they just gave us, assuming that you've been playing your Conquest. That's free. Don't upgrade it. Looks really bad upgraded, but looks really great this way. They gave us a pretty good one in the season pass. That's the one right above the Conquest one. I think it's fine. It's not bad. That was season pass a couple months ago. I don't love Baby Ghost Rider, but I certainly don't hate it. That's the upper left one is Robbie Reyes. That's a different character, and I wish that was its own card instead of just being the same card. But maybe they'll change that down the line. And then my favorite is the Kim Jacinto in the middle, which is like super duper. Cool. Next up, we talked about death. Um, I've got the hip for Spider-Man. I've got the Peach Momoko. I almost bought this mistake, but I've got the Peach Momoko and Ms. Marvel, so I feel like it's fine. I've got the Daredevil, the Peach Daredevil, where he's upside down with the. One of my favorite variants, if not my very favorite. I got the Spotlight Black Knight for basically the same reason. I love it. It's one of my favorite variants. The Peach Momoko She-Hulk with a gold background. Love it. Hip Jeff, which leaves Doom. I really like Artgerm Doom. It's one of the characters. I don't love Artgerm art, but I feel like Doom is one of the characters that benefits. But like Artgerm often feels like kind of like lesser Alex Ross, which is an insult. Alex Ross is an ultimate great. And I have Emperor Doom for Alex Ross. I also have Baby Doom if I want something cute, and then the middle Doom I have Gold. And it's just like one of my favorite variants of the game. Again, like the Doom, the She-Hulk, the Black Knight, the Daredevil are some of my favorite variants. Um, since I have things I love, I don't need to buy extra variants of them, right? Finally, we have the last day. This is today's. I almost bought this Jeff. I always almost buy this Jeff. I really do love this Jeff. It's the Rian Jeff, I believe, but I have Hip that I opened spotlights for, so Hip for Giganto, Hip for Killmonger, Hip for Gladiator, Hip for Dracula, and Hip for Typhoid. Captain Marvel, I have the Peach Momoko they gave us. Captain Marvel is not a character I especially want Nurtrum for. I don't want her to be realistic. I want her to be comic-y. And then that leaves Iron Lad. I really like the Eduardo Francisco, but it actually feels like the one in the middle, which is like Dave Volto or something. I accidentally got the Spotlight Iron Lad when it was around, which is great. I actually really like it. But my favorite, of course, is the hip. So I have the hip, I have the Spotlight, and I have this other one that feels similar. So we are good on, well, I don't want to spoil, but we are good on Little Iron Lad, who is one of the best cards in Snap. All right. Certain tiers of Patreon support come with on-air thanks, so we are giving our on-air thanks to Models, Pretty Chill, Fother Newman, Inc., No Flex, Mandatory Burnout, Matt Conduit, Good Dog Gamer, Curtis Lee, Mikey Hijinks, DG Winfield, Cables, Rob Silverman, Matt H., Robert Rivern, Abigail Giesland, Direwolf, Ocularis, Jane Everett, Spike Jones, William Pike, Louis Antunes, J.D. McDonaldino, and the homie Finn. I'd also like to note Robert Rivern is a Hela freaking expert and wrote up yet another gorgeous Hela guide. We're going to talk about that Wednesday. Thank you so much, Robert. All right, so that bounce deck is like either meta or that close to meta. Depends how much destroy you're seeing. If it's not meta right now, it's gonna be within the next like 3 weeks. Cool. So mentally prepare yourself. I don't know what to make of that Thanos Hella deck. It's incredibly cool. And please know how to beat destroy. Stay safe out there. Pack your armors. Great. That's what we have for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow where we're going to talk about so much Grandmaster. Peace.